Well, we're back again. I seem to have upset a squirrel up there somewhere. He's raising a holy heck for me being here. Already opened up the bathrooms. Oh, we're back. Let there be light. There's light, and I left the fan running. Nice and cool in here now. I'm gonna run the water for a while. Morning, Mom and Dad. Let's open up the pavilion. It's 10:30, 70 degrees outside. Humidity about 15 points on the dew point, lower than what it was the other day. Doors open. Geese are up eating. So much nicer. Almost feels like a fall day. 70 degrees compared to, and I think the dew point is 52 compared to the 90 degrees and 73%, or 73 point dew point. Well, I'm back. What I want to do today is try to get the three sides of the picture frame in, and then the first couple of boards there for sure, so that I can square everything up. That corner up there in the right front is unsquare, and I'd like to, what I'm going to do is get three of the framing boards, cut them down close to size, and then stack them in there and see what my angles are. They're not going to be 45-degree angles. These are going to be a little more than 45, and the one in the southeast will be a little less than 45. So see if we can figure that out so we can get a good joint, and then go from there. Such a peaceful morning. And I'm also hoping not to fall through the boards today. See if I can keep from falling on my butt. We've got geese flying over. I think some of the babies have finally learned how to fly. There they come in. Maybe that's the parents. Oh well, I'll turn you back on when I need to get open up everything and start getting some tools arranged. Turn you back on when we do something. Okay, see, I've got tools out. Got the saw hooked up. One of the first things I want to do is try to get an angle on these two corners just to see how far out of whack they are. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Well, turn you back on. I'm going to get some of those frame boards now. I'm going to cut the side down to 11 feet, and the front board, since it's 12 feet across, I'll probably cut at 12.5 feet, just so I can line them up and get a better angle. This board is going to be the end board. I'm not going to cut angles on it right now, so I'm just going to cut it with the battery operated circular saw. But I measured it's 143 inches across the front, and we won't even have an inch overhang on either side. So that's +2, and I'm mounted in +2 just to give me a little extra room. See what happens. I'm cutting it at 147 inches. Pick it up and put it on the front. Just place it for now, and rearrange it here so you can see both the saw and the pier, or the deck. Then I've got a second board down here that I'm going to have for the east side, and I'm going to cut those at 11 feet. They'll be a little bit shorter than that. Well, maybe I'll cut it at 11 feet and 2 inches. I like to keep them at around 11 feet in length to start. And once I do that, I can set them down, bring them together, see what the angle is, and adjust the overhang on the front. Once I figure out what the overhang on the front is, I'm trying to square it up as much as possible. I think I'm still once I put the boards down, the first board that I put in there, it's not going to use the clips. I'm actually going to screw it down, and I think I'm going to have to cut it like a ½ inch off one side or an inch off one side and angle it so that we can put it in and square it up. That way every deck board will be square to the front, and it will they'll be the same length all the way down. If I fall on my butt again today, this is where I want to do it. Carrying the boards across the opening. These are the frame boards. Reason being, they're solid on the sides. There's no groove in them for the clips to go in. So this is what we're making the picture frame out of. And all that means is we're putting this on the outside so that you don't see all the grooves from the deck boards. This board will go on the east side. Now I'm just going to set them up 90-degree angles from right now and calculate how much of an overhang I'm going to have out on the side. Set you up on the deck. Now this is the southeast corner. Now I've almost got all the gap out of it. Still need to do a little bit more, but the problem being I'm flush on this corner. And in order to close that gap up, I've had to pull this corner out to where I am now. Almost 3.5 inches out. There's no way to have that kind of overhang down here. So what I'm going to do, we'll go back to about 1 inch overhang here. There we go. There's 1 inch there, and slight one down here. And now you can see what it did to the gap. So that is not a 90-degree angle. So I just need to pull it down a little bit more, then I'm going to measure it with this protractor. Turn it on, zero it out. Hit hold. 88.5 degrees. So that would mean cut each one of those just right at 44 degrees instead of 45. And that should match up. And what we're going to do is take it up, go ahead and cut it at each one at 44. And see how it looks. Got my board up here. See from the line, I want to cut like this because this is the east side, so the board is going to come in, or it's going to come in like this. So let's move this around. You can see the major ones are marked. There's 45 coming up, and it would lock in at 45. But we want 44, and a little bit more. So we're just going to put it just a tad past 44. Tighten down the handle to keep it from moving. And then see if this will sit up here while I do this. Bring the board back up, square it up, because if it's not square, you're not going to have the angle that you set. Bring the corner into the channel here. Pull this out. Just a little short. Slightly more. Make sure I'm up against the rail. And then cut. Go. Now we're going to take it back out. On the pier, deck, whatever. I'm going to take it back out to where hopefully I don't fall on my butt. Slight overhang there. Set it up for an inch here. There we go. take up this one and cut it. Got the board on the saw, but unfortunately it's backwards. It wants to get the cut the other way, but we can accomplish that. We want this to be the high side. If we just flip it, the board, you can see we're cutting in like this exactly how we wanted to. So now what we need to do is square the board up. And you can see from my scribble, we're cut the right way. And I'm gonna set that in place and see how the angles look. Now we haven't taken in for any overhang on the east side, but that's all right. If we got the good angle, then putting got a good angle for them to come together, then the overhang we can adjust. I am way off. I'll show you. Measure this again with the protractor. It's reading 87 degrees. Wonder what this angle reads. It reads 47. Is my saw off a little? Sure seems to be. So what I need to do is take about another degree off of both sides, or a degree and a half. I got it at 44. I'm going to set the saw at 43, and then we'll cut both sides again and see how close we get. I knew this was going to take me a while because it's so unsquare, but this will pay off in being able to put deck boards on quicker. And we'll loosen this up. Pull out the lock. 35, 40, 45. Those are one degree apiece. Just wanted to make sure. I am going to come back a little over 1 degree. And we'll see how that does when I cut. You can see you want to square this up. Now it's not quite squared up. There we go. I should cut more from the inside because the outside wasn't coming together. So you want to cut more from the inside. Or do you? Yes. And that's not much, so I'm going to back this off even more. I'm going to take it. Or do I want? That cuts more. I'm going to go to 46. That's not what it's measuring, but I'm going to go by how it looks. So now, pull this up. This is going to, that almost looks like a little too much. So I'm going to back it off just slightly, a little over 45. Let's go 45 and a half. Tighten it down. Now we got to square up the board. There we go. And now we're cutting the depth off of it. Line up the front, so we're not cutting any more of that off. There we go. We're going to line that up and see how that looks. Looks a little better. No overhang at this side. 1 inch overhang down there. It's closed up a little. But what I'm going to try to do, we'll measure it with the saw too. I'm going to try to get you straightened up here. If I can get my pencil out in my pocket. That's right at, well, you can see that's right at 3/8. So I'm going to come down here and say it needs to cut to there. Now we'll take that board up, cut it, see what we can do. Okay, if you recall, we cut this on the back side. So I've carried the angle to the bottom side. to do is come back just slightly. That's closer. I'm going to 47. This is opposite of how I thought it would be. And that looks just about perfect. So we're going to lock it in there. And we're going to go for it and see what happens. If we didn't touch the top, I'm going to just take a smidge more off. Also, I'm going to adjust it to just slightly more than 47. There we go. That went right down the line, so now we're going to test it out and see. Okay, after playing with it a little bit, we've got it where it's close enough. So now I have to figure out what the overhang on the east side is going to be. I'll do it from down here to show you. We'd like it to go in and miss by about an inch here. Okay. Put that up against the board. So what we need to do is needs to go in about 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to notch these out 3/4 of an inch so that it can go out and overhang this board. It'll give us about an inch here. That's 1.5 inches, so it'll have an inch, half inch where we can screw in on that edge, but we'll have an inch lip here for the deck boards to sit on and be able to put a clip in. So as soon as I adjust it up there a little bit more to make sure that we're at the height we want to be, I'll go ahead and mark these boards and these support boards. Cut out about 3/4 of an inch. Maybe 7/8. Instead of 6/8, I'll do 7/8, just to make sure we got a little wiggle room. And then we fasten that one down, and then we fasten. I'll take a clamp and clamp down the front board, and we'll do the measurements on the other side. It's a little bit of a gap, but the boards are so unlevel, I don't care. As long as we can fasten them down. I can always throw a little sawdust and glue in there to hide if it's too bad a gap. But that's not too bad, and you can see if I go over about 3/8 of an inch or 3/4 of an inch, I'm gonna be right at an inch over. So that's what we're gonna do now. Okay. Now we'll mark the edges of the board.
against it, back off about a 1/16. Up against it, back off about a 1/16. Same way down here, up against it, back off about a 1/16. Up against it, back off by a 1/16. And now we'll measure 3/4 in. Cut that out. Get my jigsaw out, and we'll cut that. Oh, gonna measure in 3/4 of an inch and a 1/16. 3/4 of an inch and a 1/16. This is my straight edge. That's what wants to be cut out. Same thing down here. Three-quarters of an inch and a 1/16. 3/4 of an inch and a 1/16. Straight edge it. Completely worthless here, Al. Line up a little. There we go. There we go. Get my jigsaw.
go ahead and screw that side in. Now to screw these boards in, I don't know whether to use what they recommend or the some stainless steel screws I've got. We're going to try both of them and see. Neighbors are shooting up there. Hopefully he's not shooting in this direction. I've got the board fastened down. Now I'm just going to put proper overhang on the front one, tighten it down. Well, I've got the frame board on the east side screwed in. I've got the front board, frame board. I've got it clamped down where I want it there. And I've got an inch overhang and clamped down there. Now what I want to do is cut another frame board for the west side. Adjust where we're going to have it. By that I mean I'm going to put it down, adjust the overhang so the distance from west to east remains constant as it goes up. That means this board here is probably going to have to come in a little bit. But I'm going to cut one first, 12 feet or 11 feet 2 inches, and we'll see how much the overhang is going to be. Let's measure some gaps. That much. One 34 all the way down through there. And that's barely, I don't know what the gap is down there, we'll measure it. Let's see. Just under an inch there. There, that works. So down at the far end there's an inch overhang. Up here there's a ½ inch overhang. I get 134 inches back and forth. So now I'm just going to cut that angle because 134 looks like it's the best thing. First I'm going to take a break. Put this board on here, just temporary. Put it up to the edge. If I cut each one of these deck boards at 134, that's the distance from the inside of the east to the inside of the west. The overhang up here is an inch. The overhang back here is a ½ inch, which is perfect. What I'm thinking of doing is going ahead and cutting a deck board, 134 minus a 16th, and we'll use that for spacing. I also want to mark right here. This is where the cut will start. But first I'm going to cut a couple of these boards at 134 inches minus a 16th, and that's going to be our spacing. Put one here, one down there, and one down there, and that should hold our spacing. I think what I want to do, let's see what this angle is. Turn it on.
straight edge there, and the straight edge there. That reads 91.2. That would be 45 and a quarter, or 45 and a half inches, or 45 and a half degrees for both these cuts. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one after I do the 3 boards, and then we'll see how it looks. I'll cut this one, or mark it up, and see how it does. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces cut at 143 inches. Looks like it's going to work pretty good. What I want to do is square up the front board, get an idea of how big of a gap I got to fill. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut the angle on the front board, and may go ahead and screw it down. Put one screw in that end so that it's still slightly adjustable, and then adjust the 1-inch gap down here. Now I need to take up the west board and cut the angle on it. I'm going to take a break first. The angle looks good, so I'm fastening it down in the corner. need to get another box of stainless steel. I'm gonna take a break. Okay, I've put a board down in there to square it up. Turns out I had to cut about 4.5 inches off this side and make an angle cut. But now when I measure with the square on both sides, it's sitting in there square. So I've got the groove on this side, so I can go ahead and put clips on this side. On the other side, down there where I got enough wood, I'll put some stainless steel screws in there to hold it down, and then from there we should just be able to come back square. That's what I'm going to do now, is fasten it down. Steel screws in the back, hold it in place. That is rough, putting those on. I'm going to cut a couple more and put those on, and then I'm probably going to get home. Well, I've got 4 pieces in there, and it's working pretty good. It just takes so long to put those clips in, especially for an old man. So I'm getting ready to, I got one more board to just put in there to fill that gap, and then I'm going to start cleaning up. Clean up, and then I'll do a flyby, show what we got done. Well, that's a wrap on today. I've got the fans off. The doors are locked. It's 10 till 6. I am worn out. That door is locked. Picked up everything but my water. Let there be no light, and there's no light. All I need to do is pull this door shut, and it's locked. Already started my SUV so that the air conditioning will work. I've got both the sheds closed up, all the tools put away. This has been a hard day. It's only 81 degrees. Feels a little warmer because of humidity, but even then, the dew point is 61, which is 11 to 12 points lower than what it was last week. I've got the frame boards in on left, right side, and front, and then I put in the first 4 boards. You can see the first board is just really cut up, but that's to level it out because it is so out of square that I squared it up using that first board, and now it's just one board after another. And yeah, the gap after the 4th board, that's just put in there. I didn't click it in, so it's just in there. And I'll move these boards here so that they are at least way over. Somebody falls through there, that's their fault. It has been a beautiful day. Fair weather clouds. Breeze most of the time, but unfortunately the breeze doesn't always get in here to the deck. So I'm headed home. If I had a jacuzzi, I'd get in it and just soak. I believe everything from my waist down hurts. My hips, my knees, my feet. So, yeah. What a beautiful day. Look at all that blue sky. Got a nice big pile of junk now. I'm gonna have to get a bin in here so we can throw that stuff away. It's treated lumber and no way we burn it. So that's it for today. I'm gonna take a few days off before I come back. Next time I come back, I may be with the retiree to mow next week. It's Friday and I'm done. So till the next time, take care of yourself, stay safe.